The oldest corps in the nation, the Veterans Corps of Artillery, is making its way down now to the 75mm pack howitzers that they will be firing the ceremonial rounds. You know, today, the Lower Manhattan Historical Society and the Allegiance for Downtown New York are pleased to have with us a contingent of the Big Apple Chorus. And they're going to start off the festivities. Since 1983, the Big Apple Chorus has been entertaining audiences.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone.
The Veterans Corps of Artillery was founded on November 25, 1790 at the City Arms Tavern at Broadway and Thames Street in Manhattan by a group of Revolutionary War veterans worried about another war with the Britons. That's a brief introduction into the New York State Veterans Corps of Artillery. And as they get ready, ladies and gentlemen, what you're going to witness today is the Veterans Corps of Artillery led by the Commandant, Colonel Steve Ryan. They will be firing 50 blank rounds representing and recognizing the 50 United States. My name is Ron Durrell, and I am a retired United States Marine, and I am currently the Command Sergeant Major for the New York State Veterans Corps of Artillery. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, as the battery prepares, we're going to let you enjoy another song.
New York, New York, New York, I wanna wake up in the city that doesn't sleep, to find I'm king of the hill, top of the heap, top of the heap. My little town blues are melting away, melting away. I'll make a brand new start of it in old New York. I wanna wake up in the city that doesn't sleep, to find I'm king of the hill, head of the list, cream of the crop at the top. My little town blues are melting away, melting away. I'll make a brand new start of it in old New York. If I can make it there, I'll make it anywhere.
So what we're going to do is call out each state in the order they came into the Union by date. So starting with Delaware and of course ending with Hawaii. Thank you for coming. Delaware, December 7th, 1787. Pennsylvania, December 12th, 1787. New Jersey, December 18th, 1787. Georgia, January 2nd, 1788. Connecticut, January 9th, 1788. Massachusetts, February 6th, 1788. April 28, 1788. South Carolina, May 23rd, 1788. New Hampshire, June 21st, 1788. Virginia, June 25th, 1788.
The Declaration of Independence
New York,
in Congress,
July 26th,
July 4th, 1776. When in accordance with human events,
North
it
Carolina,
becomes
November
necessary for one
21st,
people to dissolve the
1789.
political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers
Rhode Island,
of the earth
May
the
29th,
separate and equal
1790.
station to which the laws of nature and of
Ladies and
nature's
gentlemen, I
God
just wish to
entitled them.
pause. Those are the 13 original
Indecent
colonies.
respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving that their powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness.
Today's July 4th, celebrating the Independence Day at the African Burial Ground. Today, the Sable Soldiers of the American Revolution presented an impression on the history of the first blacks that established the community. And my name is Lucha K. Ballin from Sable Soldiers of the American Revolution in 26 United States. Obviously, it was apropos for us to be here. This is, first of all, the earliest settlements of blacks in New York City, and also the most sacred place in Manhattan. So it was apropos for us to be here to celebrate Independence Day, one of America's most revered celebrations, and also honoring the beginnings of America. So it is somewhat celebrating our very own beginning in New York City. A special thing that we did today was our flower laying ceremony. So we had the entire audience come, do a prayer for the Africans that are entered here, and we laid some flowers as well. And one interesting thing, people were calling out their own ancestors. So we learned a lot about folks that even had people of African heritage that had descendants from the American Revolutionary War and so on.
Perfect.
So
in heaven done sign my name. If you don't believe that I've been redeemed, the angels in heaven done sign my name. Then follow me down to Jordan Street. The angels in heaven done sign my name. I know I've been changed. heaven done sign my name. I know I've been changed, yes we have. I know I've been changed. I know I've been changed. The angels in heaven done sign my name.
Welcome to the Lower Manhattan Historical Society's first annual interracial and interfaith celebration of freedom, right on Independence Day. We're at a very special place, of course, the African Burial Ground National Monument. And thank you all for joining us. We have some very special speakers today who are going to give you their own interpretations of freedom and its meaning, and related to religious freedom as well. I'd like to introduce our first distinguished speaker, Reverend Mark Bizzuti Jones, one of the priests at Trinity Church and the best preacher Trinity Church has ever seen.
That's right.
All right.
So today, I want to share a few words that mean a lot to me as we think about freedom in the context of this United States of America. And I'd like to begin with the words spoken by His Imperial Majesty to the UN in October 1963. And Bob Marley, that great Jamaican, made it into a song called War. And the words are these: until the philosophy which holds one race superior and another inferior is finally and permanently discredited and abandoned, that until there are no longer first-class and second-class citizens of any nation, that until the color of one's skin is of no more significance than the color of one's eyes, that until the basic human rights are equally guaranteed to all without regard to race, that until that day, the dream of lasting peace and world citizenship and the rule of international morality will remain but a fleeting illusion to be pursued but never attained, until bigotry and prejudice and malicious and inhuman self-interest have been replaced by understanding and tolerance and goodwill, until all Africans and all human beings stand and speak as free beings, equal in the eyes of all, as they are in the eyes of heaven. Until that day, we Africans will fight if necessary, and we know that we shall win, as we are confident in the victory of good over evil. And on this day that we celebrate the independence of this great nation, and we recognize that when we celebrate independence, it's only an invitation to continue the struggle. I think it's important for us to recognize that until all of us are respected, all of us are loved, no matter who we are, no matter what we do, no matter whom we choose to love, America is at its best when all religions are respected, when all people of all races, sexual orientation are respected and loved. And so this is my dream as we celebrate our Independence Day today, that we will truly live into the dream of what it means to be the great United States of America. It's important that we remember that celebration requires that we remember the past. And in our Jewish understanding of remembering, it means that we commit to making the world better. We don't just remember, but we commit to a life that makes the world better for all. A nation where we know that all of us are loved and respected. So happy Independence Day, and may we truly know what it is to be independent, because to be independent is to respect every human being, to work for justice, to work for love, and commit to peace. May God bless us all. God bless America. God bless the whole world this day and forever. Amen.
Reverend Mark Bizzuti Jones. Now the other speakers know who their competition is. But before that, another song from our songstress, Ebony Brown.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh yeah. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, oh yeah, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, oh let it shine. Hey, everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine, oh yeah. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, oh yeah, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, oh let it shine. All in my house, I'm gonna let it shine, oh yeah. All in my house, I'm gonna let it shine. Take it away, Mercedes. Yes. Hey. Not gonna cover it up, no way. I'm gonna let it shine. Not gonna cover it up. We're gonna let it shine. Not gonna cover it up, no way. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, oh let it shine.
Official title is not the Rabbi of New York City, but it should be. Very proud to introduce Rabbi Joseph Potasnik of the New York Board of Rabbis.
Let me firstly say, interestingly, in Hebrew, the word for bones is atzamot. With the same letters, you can spell atzmaut, that means independence. Just imagine that. Bones and independence from the same letters. Here we are, African burial grounds, the bones of people who were not free, and we're able to talk about freedom, which says to all of us we have a responsibility to them to make sure that their dreams, as was said by Reverend Jones, that their dreams are fulfilled during our lifetime. I want to say to all of you here that I think one of the most important words in the English language is and. The word and, it's a conjunctive, because it's we and you, not we or you. The only way we're going to succeed in this world is if we stand together. Many faiths, one family. You know, on the Liberty Bell, there is that statement from the Bible, Crotem Draw, you shall proclaim liberty to all inhabitants. But it begins with and you shall proclaim liberty. Again, the conjunctive. It's not enough that we stand separately. It's imperative that we stand together, saying that we and you are in this together, that we have to be there to open doors as widely as possible for one another. Reverend Jones mentioned Elie Wiesel, who would often speak of never again. We Jews used to say never again after the Holocaust, but Wiesel reminded us that never again refers to our promise to all people that never again can these horrors happen to you. And the only way we can prevent that, we and you standing together. We and you need to be united to make sure that never again will what happened to the African slaves, what happened to the Jews, what happened to any people, to Muslims. As Imam Latif said to me before, Muslims were attacked yesterday in New York, not for anything they did, but for who they are. We can't remain silent when any people is attacked anywhere. So it is a great honor to be here today. You learn in school that 1 and 1 equals 2. We also have to teach you that 1 and 1 equals 1. That people who are different can stand together in that spirit of oneness. We can be one and different at the same time, we and you.
Christian leader in Lower Manhattan, we've heard from a Jewish leader in New York City, and I'm proud that we also have one of the distinguished Muslim leaders in New York City, Professor Latif, who heads the NYU Muslim Center among his many other titles. I'm so glad he is willing to represent the Muslim community with us today.
I had the distinct blessing of being invited to speak alongside Pope Francis on his last visit here to New York City. We addressed an audience of about 400 people at the Ground Zero site. City officials, celebrities, activists, religious leaders of all backgrounds, and a global audience that was really in the millions. It was a really pivotal moment in my own development, both in terms of my relationship with my spirituality and faith, but also just in understanding what real leadership means. A lot of people ask me quite often, even until today, what was it like to meet the Pope? When I was a week out from that event, I was speaking at Case Western University in Ohio, and a young woman asked me the same question, what was it like to meet the Pope? And I said to her, you know, it was crazy. You had hundreds and hundreds of people line up for hours to not even hear him speak, to just watch his car drive by. That for so many, whether they had a deep relationship with their Catholicism, a tangential relationship with their Catholicism, they weren't even Catholic, it was so clear that they were moved by his messaging. And I said, the night before he and I spoke together at the Ground Zero site, he delivered a message at St. Patrick's Cathedral to an audience of about 3,000 in number there present, but again, a global audience in the millions. And all of his messages up until that point, they were scripted. He was reading them off of a piece of paper. So now, while he has this captive audience in front of him, for so many, this would be the highlight of their life, something that they would go and tell their children and their children's children about that day that the Pope came and shared these words with us. He decided to go off script, and he started his remarks by first praying for 700 Muslims that died that morning while performing the Hajj pilgrimage in Mecca. And I said to that girl, why do you think he would do something like that? He's in a city where the September 11th attacks took place. The relationship between Muslim community and law enforcement, governmental apparatus is tenuous at best. Nobody would have faulted him had he not done it. They wouldn't say, we can't believe you didn't pray for those people. He simply did it because he thought it was the right thing to do. A man who asked his global constituency to take in refugees when many of the world's leaders, including officials in our country, were looking for every reason to keep them out. A man who chooses to eat with the homeless rather than eating with politicians. A man who understood his faith and his values to dictate a world perspective that was much bigger than just living a life for himself, but seeing how his life had to be for so many others. And I think when we come together on this hallowed ground today, on this very sacred day that is our Independence Day, we want to be able to evoke an understanding of selflessness and pluralism that is represented in that example. Especially when we juxtapose it to the ideas that run rampant today, both in the political scene as well as media imagery that teaches us as individuals in a diverse society to be segmented and away from each other, to believe the worst of each other, to have antagonized perspectives of one another. And on an individual level, that becomes something that's problematic, but when it now goes from an individual level to an institutionalized level, and it exists in the form of systemic and structural issues that we find still plaguing our society today, our collective coming together is that much more important to challenge those mindsets and policies. I serve as the university chaplain at New York University, but I'm also a chaplain for the New York City Police Department. And by rank, I'm given the rank of an inspector. It's a fairly high rank, one rank below a one-star chief. One of the things that we do as department chaplains is visit the Ground Zero Memorial every year on the anniversary of September 11th. On the 9th anniversary of the attacks, we started the day just as we normally would. We had breakfast with family members who lost loved ones on that day. We took a bus down to the Ground Zero site. And the ceremony was a little bit different than what you have today because the current memorial was still being built, so it was a little bit more private. There was a stage where everything took place. In front of the stage, an area for VIPs, family members, city officials. Behind us, there was a press pit for the media to come and watch. And behind them was a place for the public to come and view. So that year, on the 9th anniversary of the attacks, Vice President Biden was present. And I'm standing in my police uniform, an inspector's uniform, waiting for the ceremony to start. I have my beard, I'm wearing my skull cap, my head is covered. As I'm talking and mingling, 3 men wearing suits approach me and they say, "Secret Service has spotted you from the top of a building. They want us to check your credentials just in case." And I said, "Just in case what?" And they said, "We're sorry that we're doing this to you." And I said, "Then why are you doing it?" And to understand what they're questioning at that moment is not merely my presence at that place, but the entire validity of my emotions tied to that space. Where I was an undergrad at New York University on September 11th in 2001. I stood with about 12,000 of my classmates in Washington Square Park as we watched the second plane fly into the towers. I found myself with microphones of media from all over the world wanting to know why would Muslims do this and what do Muslims think. People tried to push me down staircases. I stood on funeral after funeral of people of my faith and other walks of life who died in the atrocious attacks of that day. And so much of the work that I do until today is informed by the tragedies of that day. And in that moment, those men are questioning the validity of all of it. And the frustrating thing isn't that I'm going through it, but what can I really do about it? That if I was to say anything in response, it would probably make the situation that much worse. So while I'm standing and they are engaging me in this way, and there are so many eyes that are watching and nobody is saying anything, there was a mother who lost her son on September 11th who spoke where I couldn't speak. And she said to those men that what you are doing right now to the memory of our loved ones that we lost on that day is more dishonorable than anything else. That here this young man is standing with us in our moment of need, and you're making it seem as if he's doing something wrong just because he's Muslim. And as easily as they had taken the validation away, she brought it right back. Primarily what you want to understand from this is that somebody sitting somewhere has concocted a policy that has trickled down, that has told those men, if you see somebody that looks like this, look at them again. And we find ourselves in these realities today, where there are schools that are built to feed young black men and women into the prison system simply by virtue of the color of their skin. That as a country, we are still debating whether Black Lives Matter or not. We find ourselves in a place where policy upon policy is being dictated that is holding people down systemically. If we don't speak out against it, and we're not smart about who it is that we're voting for, we're going to find a perpetuation of these realities. I'm in a police uniform, and it's happening to me. And even if I wasn't, it still wouldn't be okay. The second thing that I would ask of you is that if someone said to me, would you do it all over again? I would say, of course I would. By standing in a place where I'm the only one of my background, if it makes it easy for people other than me, generations later, to stand, I'm going to keep doing it. For certain battles to be won, those battles have to take place in the first place. And that's just something that we have to understand. You might be the only one who speaks, but when you speak and you stand, it might be the catalyst necessary for much needed change so that atrocities that we see or we are coming to honor, such as today, won't take place. And then the last thing and the most important thing, when you think about pluralism, when you think about someone who understands diversity not as an achievement just because we sit together, but learns how to harness it and celebrate it, don't think about somebody wretched like me, but think about that woman who leveraged her power and her privilege at that moment to help someone who is underserved and underprivileged. Who on September 11th at the Ground Zero Memorial is going to say anything to a mother who lost her son on that day? And in recognizing that she uniquely could say something, she said it. Not in expectation of getting anything in return, but simply because it was the right thing to do. My prayer for all of us today is that our coming together is no longer tied to a uniformity of our external. The color of our skin, the country of our origin, our cultural heritage, our social class. But we start to have a uniformity of the internal, our values and our hearts. And if this is the only time that we are all meant to be together, regardless of our race, our ethnicity, our class, our faith, or whether we are people who don't believe, I would ask that God Almighty brings us all together again in the best of places in the world beyond this one. Thank you.
Not my mother, nor my father, but it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. It's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. Not my mother, nor my father, but it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. Not my mother, nor my father, but it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. You can clap along. It's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. It's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord. Can you hear me? Standing in the need of prayer. Hey, not the deacon or the preacher, but it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. Not the deacon or the preacher, but it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. Hey, you know the words, sing along. It's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. It's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. Hey, not my sister, nor my brother, but it's me, oh Lord, can you hear me? Standing in the need of prayer, prayer. Not my sister, nor my brother, but it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. Marcel, let's take us out. It's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. It's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. Hey.
right. President of the Lower Manhattan Historical Society, James Kaplan. For the last few years, Jim has stood with some of us in front of Florence's Tavern to read Washington's Newport letter. And with that inspiration, we decided to take that simple gesture to a higher level as we're doing today. It's my great pleasure to introduce Lower Manhattan Historical Society President James Kaplan to read Washington's Newport letter and then offer his personal commentary on the day.
It was in 1790, right after the American Revolution, that the Jewish citizens of the United States asked that General Washington provide, or President Washington, provide a statement of their position, because they had been discriminated against throughout the generations, throughout different countries. And what he said in a letter to the Newport congregation in Newport, Rhode Island, but really speaking to all Jews and to all minorities, he said, "The citizens of the United States of America have a right to applaud themselves for having given to mankind examples of an enlarged and liberal policy, a policy worthy of limitation. All possess alike liberty of conscience and immunities of citizenship. It is no more that toleration is spoken of as if it were the indulgence of one class of people that another enjoyed the exercise of their inherent natural rights. For happily the government of the United States, which gives to bigotry no sanction, to persecution no assistance, requires only that they who live under its protection should demean themselves as good citizens in giving it on all occasions their effectual support." This was by George Washington in 1790. And however, I would have to say that this ideal really wasn't completely followed. I mean, after all, how could you swear the idea that the United States gives to bigotry no sanction, to persecution no assistance, with the fact that 4 million blacks were slaves in the South? I think a seminal event, which most people don't know, or which I view, was in the development of Harlem. Harlem in the 1890s was developing as a very upper class, a significantly Jewish community. One day, a man named Philip Payton purchased through a building in Harlem, to which he began to move blacks from the Hell's Kitchen area. And that was successful in the sense because the area was slightly depressed at the time, and soon there was a whole block of blacks in Harlem. And immediately there was an attempt to buy up Payton's properties and evict the blacks. But Payton took the proceeds of the sale and he bought other properties and he began evicting whites. And he said that the blacks were going to stand in Harlem. And as a result, Payton was successful. And the discrimination against blacks in Harlem was broken. And suddenly Harlem became the largest black community in the country. So I think July 4th really should be a day to celebrate this alliance against discrimination of blacks, whites, and others. And we should celebrate, and I think we should learn more about the fight against discrimination here in New York City and also throughout the country.
Our final word today to a special friend of the Lower Manhattan Historical Society and one of the leaders of the Alexander Hamilton Awareness Society, who has a few words to offer on the general theme of spirituality, Sergio Villagencia.
I am from Peru, South America. My people had a visit from the Spanish, and the first thing they did was to understand which one of all the special places that the Incas had were sacred places. The first thing they did was to destroy every single temple and every single sacred ground that we had. And they built a church on top. That way, the natives still have to come to that place because the ground was sacred. We lost so much of our identity, our religion, and everything. And with time, we also gained our independence. Independence that was started here in the States. I'm going to be brief, but there is something that I want to tell you about independence. Most countries in the world have achieved independence, but there is one more independence that we need to achieve, and that is an independence of suffering. Throughout the millennials, there have been a movement of people, religions, fights, wars, everybody trying to destroy what they consider a threat. Those identifications or labels that we grow up to put on ourselves more and more each day, and be able to see that the very same essence is in every single one of the people out there. There was one spiritual master in India who once said, there is only one religion, the religion of love. There is only one language, the language of the heart. There is only one race, the race of humanity. And there is only one God, and He is omnipresent. By saying there is only one religion, the religion of love, we need to understand the meaning of religion. It comes from Latin, religare, which means to reunite. To reunite ourselves. Only when we get in touch with that divinity, we can be free.
Thank you, that was excellent. Thank you all for joining us today, and a special thanks to the National Park Service, who were gracious enough to invite us here today to the African Burial Ground to provide us with their equipment. Special thanks to Shirley McKinney, who's the Executive Director of the parks in Lower Manhattan, and also to Jim McCleckley, who is the District Manager. And this is our first annual interracial and interfaith celebration of freedom on Independence Day, and I'm sure this event will grow and grow, and we'll remember having been here the first time. And to take us out is going to be the wonderful singer, Ebony Brown.
Should I feel discouraged, and why should the shadows come? Why should my heart feel lonely and long for heaven and home, when Jesus is my portion, a constant friend is He. His eye is on the sparrow, and I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. I know He watches me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is Arthur Piccolo, co-founder of the Lower Manhattan Historical Society, speaking after the July 4th weekend, 2016. A group of us first came together 3 years ago to bring to life the idea that Lower Manhattan should be a focal point of activity on July 4th weekend, not just on the major years, but every single year. We began very modestly our first attempt 3 years ago. 2 years ago, we took the July 4th committee concept and formed the Lower Manhattan Historical Society, right now celebrating its second anniversary. Our plans became more ambitious, not just for July 4th, but to put together a year-round schedule of celebrations and activities that would highlight the rich history of Lower Manhattan, going all the way back to the 1600s and even earlier. We have been succeeding in that effort. We have had activities of one sort or another related to American and New York history every single month of the year now. But it was this just past July 4th weekend where we clearly proved what an opportunity there is to expand the importance of history in Lower Manhattan, to make it such an important part of Lower Manhattan's present and its future. Our 3 days of activities this past July 4th weekend proves the concept well. We had multiple activities, as you have seen in these various videos, and we're poised to do even more in the future. This is the 240th anniversary of American independence. A great timeline is to look upon this as a 10-year countdown to the 250th anniversary of American independence in 2026. Our goal should be, at the Lower Manhattan Historical Society, but way beyond the Lower Manhattan Historical Society, for everyone in Lower Manhattan to be committed that we make 2026, July 2026, July 4th, 2026, the 250th anniversary of American independence, the best and most impressive and most meaningful celebration of American history that has taken place anywhere, not just in New York City, but anywhere in the country. And with 10 years to make progress, I'm sure we can accomplish that. As for this year, as for this July 4th weekend, the Board of Directors of the Lower Manhattan Historical Society has a lot of people to thank. First and foremost, our sponsors. Most of all, the Howard Hughes Corporation and John E. Herzog. Both of them made significant financial contributions to our activities this July 4th weekend. Also, thanks to the Alliance for Downtown Manhattan for providing funding for the Big Apple Chorus to perform at the cannon firing at the Battery on the morning of July 4th. We are particularly indebted to the nation and the people that we have made our partners for this particular past July 4th weekend, the Irish community. Beginning with the Irish Consulate, and there, first and foremost, Deputy Consul General Anna McGillicuddy, and another senior executive, Mary Deedy. And then, of course, there's Adrian Flannelly, who has been such a significant part of this weekend, Dr. Maureen Murphy, the Grand Marshal of our parade on Saturday, July 2nd. The New York St. Patrick's Day Parade, Inc. has been also very helpful to us. In addition, special thanks to the Richmond County Pipes and Drums for their participation. at the parade on July 2nd. Among other special thanks, the National Park Service for providing us the use of Federal Hall on Sunday, July 3rd, for the first annual Alexander Hamilton Immigrant Achievement Award, and for use of the African Burial Ground National Monument on Monday, July 4th, for our first interfaith and interracial celebration of freedom on July 4th. Particular thanks to Shirley McKinney, who is the Director of National Park Service Facilities in Lower Manhattan, and District Manager Jim McClickley. They and the rest of their staff have been magnificent, and we thank them all also. There are lots of other people to thank. We have to thank the New York City Police Department, very much so, and Detective Tom Moran, and Detective Rick Lee, first and foremost. We have to thank the Battery Park City Authority for their assistance. We have to thank the New York City Parks Department for their involvement. The list goes on, and I'm sure I'm going to forget to mention some people, but they are all being remembered by us. I want to thank Father Mark Bizzuti Jones from Trinity Wall Street for his participation in the interfaith and interracial service on July 4th. I want to thank Rabbi Joseph Potasnik for his involvement in that same service, and Professor Latif from the Muslim Center at NYU, and with so many other leadership positions in the Muslim community in New York City, for his magnificent remarks at the service at the African Burial Ground. So, July 4th is over. We have a year ahead of us of activities every month of the year, if we are able to proceed as we want, and a year-long planning process for next July 4th weekend, where we intend to do even more than we were able to do, and we did it very well this past July 4th weekend. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Lower Manhattan Historical Society, our thanks to everyone who was involved. We hope everyone will stay involved with the Lower Manhattan Historical Society, and we look forward to working together for a better Lower Manhattan every day of the year. Thank you.